If you haven't been asleep for the last couple of centuries, you should know that this new thing called music has been around for some time now. And you probably know that there are different types of music, or so-called genres. And in this video, we want to go through the history of hip-hop and look at the most important dates in the world of rap. So as you can see from the title of this video, you are in the beginners part. It is important to know that there are 3 levels of this video series: beginner, advanced and professional. In the beginner section, we will look at the most important dates in the history of rap, starting from 1970 when hip-hop started to sneak around the corner, to 1990 when people like Tupac, Biggie and more have started with their music. In phase 2, also known as the advanced phase, we start from 1990 all the way up to 2015. And phase 3, or the professional phase, goes from 2015 to the present day. We want to spend some more time on the latest news and events, and that's why we take a closer look at this seemingly shorter time period in part 3. So I hope you guys understand the concept of this video as well as the concept of the upcoming sequels, and if you don't, feel free to ask in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on the other following parts. But for now, let's start with this video. Where we start right on August 11th, 1973 in the Bronx, New York. The birth hours of hip-hop are ticking, while 18-year-old DJ Kool Herc shows off his DJing skills at a party. Using 2 turntables, he improvised a new technique of isolating and repeating musical breaks. You might be wondering why he's so important that I included him in this video, especially if you've never heard his name before. Well, DJ Kool Herc is a Jamaican producer and, as his name suggests, a DJ. With his groundbreaking technique at that party, he wasn't just the guy on stage, he was the guy. The one everyone admired that night. What no one realized though was that this man had just laid the foundation for a genre now recognized around the world as hip-hop. And to put things in perspective, this was just a small back-to-school party. In fact, an invitation to that very party was auctioned off in 2022 for a whopping $27,000. 3 years later, in 1976, 18-year-old Joseph Sadler, better known by his stage name Grandmaster Flash, invented several key techniques like cutting, backspinning and phasing, methods that still form the foundation of hip-hop today. Alongside DJ Kool Herc, he gave a whole generation of rappers the tools to create beats in the way we know them now. And as a pioneer of an entire movement, Grandmaster Flash more than deserves a mention in this video. Broken glass everywhere, people pissing on the stage, you know they just don't care. Another significant moment in rap history occurred in 1977. This was the year Afrika Bambaataa, founder of the global organization Zulu Nation, helped to spread the influence and appreciation of hip-hop. Zulu Nation focused on empowering youth and took a stand against violence, drug abuse and gang activity. Members of the group weren't allowed to drink, smoke or engage in violence. Instead, they resolved conflicts on the dance floor through breakdancing, with the fresh sounds of hip-hop as their soundtrack. Although the genre's spread was slow at first, hip-hop steadily gained popularity, eventually reaching the streets and beyond. Let's continue with one of the most significant dates in hip-hop history, September 16th, 1979. On this day, the self-proclaimed Sugarhill Gang released the first official hip-hop record, Rapper's Delight. By now, some of you are probably familiar with this date, but what's really interesting is how the song came to be and how it became the first official hip-hop record. As I mentioned earlier, hip-hop was slowly gaining popularity on the streets. Sylvia Robinson, the manager of Sugarhill's label, got the idea for a hip-hop song when she overheard someone rapping to a beat at a children's birthday party in her neighborhood. That moment sparked the creation of Rapper's Delight, and it was just the beginning. As hip-hop continued to evolve, it became a passion for millions of young Americans, offering a platform to express the daily struggles they faced. It was also around this time that the music industry started using the term rap music, shifting the spotlight from the DJs to the MCs. Now, as we move into the 1980s, there are a few names you most definitely know, and maybe even a couple that might be new to you. One of those names is Run-D.M.C. With their first single, It's Like That, Sucker MCs, released on March 12, 1983, they were amongst the pioneers of hip-hop in the early 80s. At that time, hip-hop was still considered a new genre and hadn't fully gained acceptance as a legitimate musical category. Run-D.M.C set major milestones, including having the very first rap music video aired on MTV. They were also the first rap group to appear on the cover of the US music magazine Rolling Stone. For our next milestone on the list, we jump to 1984. In this year, one of the biggest and most famous hip-hop labels, Def Jam Records, was founded, which would go on to sign some of the biggest rappers ever and is known as a fundamental point in the entire history of hip-hop. The first song released by the label was LL Cool J's I Need a Beat. You might recognize this name, as it plays a key role in the history of hip-hop and its growth worldwide. Early on, Def Jam Records signed artists like Jay-Z, Nas, Ludacris and many others, helping them kickstart their careers as rappers. Without the foundation laid by this label, hip-hop's development might have faced significant challenges. In the years that followed, Def Jam Records expanded its roster to include even more major artists, such as Kanye West, Eminem, Rihanna, Snoop Dogg and many others. This cemented its reputation as the biggest and most influential hip-hop label in the world.
Well, first of all, I'm a fan of Def Jam Records. As a rapper, as a kid, as a man, I just missed the mystique of Def Jam Records and what it meant to hip-hop and what it was all about.
Next, we go to the 18th of November 1985. On this day, LL Cool J released his debut album, Radio. This album is significant because it played a key role in helping Def Jam Records establish itself as a new label and gain recognition among hip-hop fans as the genre continued to spread globally. LL Cool J took a bold risk with this project, as nobody knew if it would be a success or a flop. At the time, hip-hop was centered around DJs, live performances and single tracks, but nobody was focused on full-length albums or mixtapes. But LL Cool J changed that. He redefined the genre and set milestones that marked the beginning of a new era in hip-hop.
You must have got rejections from some record companies.
Incredible. Send records like Sugarhill and N.W.A. They send you letters. Oh, we failed to. We please inform you that your record cannot be used at this time. Please free.
On November 15th, 1986, the Beastie Boys released License to Ill. This album wasn't just a breakthrough for the band, it also marked a major milestone for the hip-hop industry, becoming the first rap album to ever reach #1 on the Billboard charts. Around the same time, Run-D.M.C released their album Raising Hell on May 15th, 1986. Although some singles from the album came out later that year, meaning it wasn't entirely finished at the time of its release. As well as Beastie Boys' License to Ill was the first hip-hop album ever to reach #1 on the Billboard charts, Run-D.M.C's Raising Hell was the first hip-hop album ever to go platinum. Run-D.M.C became iconic for their distinctive style, featuring Adidas sneakers and tracksuits, which helped establish a fashion trend now inseparable from hip-hop culture. With these two groundbreaking albums and the artists' signature looks, hip-hop garnered significant attention and began transitioning from an underground movement to a genre on the brink of mainstream success. Eventually, the success of bands like Run-D.M.C helped cement hip-hop as a mainstream cultural force. Till this day, Raising Hell is regarded as one of the most important hip-hop albums in history, as it marked the beginning of hip-hop's golden age. Just 4 months later, on March 10th, 1987, Public Enemy released Yo! Bum Rush the Show, which brought big changes to the hip-hop scene and kicked off a new movement. The group's members Flavor Flav and Chuck D rapped about political and social issues, and while talking about these topics wasn't new in rap, they took it to a new level. They focused on racism and inequality in America, wearing military-style clothes to show that their music was a form of resistance. But they didn't just change what they rapped about, they also changed the music itself. Instead of the usual upbeat beats you'd hear in clubs and parties, they used harder, more intense sounds that matched the message of their lyrics. This was just the start of their movement. Artists like Nas and N.W.A followed their style, and many people connected with this new way of rapping. Public Enemy helped create a new direction and identity for hip-hop. In 1988, Public Enemy got the opportunity to work on a film called Do the Right Thing with director Spike Lee. Based on the direction of Public Enemy's music, Spike Lee asked them to create an angry and rhythmic film that focused on racial tensions in Brooklyn, New York. Public Enemy seized this chance to expand their music and spread the message they had been sharing through their lyrics.
It's your own place, you can do what you want to do. What I tell you about that noise? What I tell you about that pitch?
The film was a massive success, and hip-hop was now part of the movie world. Not only that, but Do the Right Thing was named the best film of 1989, and later became one of the top 10 films of the decade. This was a huge moment for hip-hop, as it made the message of rap music clear to a wider audience. On May 19th, 1989, Do the Right Thing was screened at the 42nd Cannes Film Festival and was released in the USA on June 13th, 1989, marking hip-hop's debut on the big screen. Today's last date is a very important one, as it comes from the golden year of hip-hop and ushered in a new, completely different era that would change hip-hop forever. On a hot summer's day, the 8th August 1988, the rap group N.W.A released their album Straight Outta Compton. They talked about police violence and racism on the West Coast, and with songs like F the Police and Straight Outta Compton, they introduced a whole new direction of rap music to the West Coast, namely gangster rap. The tape is quite similar to Public Enemy's Yo! Bum Rush the Show, but with one key difference. While Public Enemy's album was from the East Coast, this one comes from the West Coast. And before this album dropped, it didn't really matter which coast you were from. Hip-hop was just hip-hop, right? Straight Outta Compton was a major breakthrough, not only for N.W.A, but also for the West Coast itself, as it put the region on the map in the hip-hop world, a scene that had mostly developed in the East. This album marked the start of a much bigger movement in hip-hop than most people realized at the time. In fact, it would later lead to such intense conflict that some people even lost their lives because of this music. That was it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If we missed anything or could have done anything better, please let us know in the comments, and don't hesitate to leave a like and subscribe to our channel, because in the next part we will be looking at the golden 90s and all the way up to 2015. Before you leave, don't forget to share this video with Warren Buffett so he stays updated on all the relevant things in the world of rap.